Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe and share your comments about the exciting end of the story, the Rift Riders. Let the story begin. The night sky over New Connecticut was a tapestry of swirling stars and vibrant auroras. Captain Lucas Ward stood at the edge of the Rift platform, a shimmering portal of energy pulsating before him. He adjusted his helmet, the HUD, heads-up display, showing the Rift's fluctuating readings. "This looks unstable," he muttered into his comms. Lieutenant Arya Hansen, standing next to him, nodded. "Dr. Green said the rift might be volatile. We're pushing boundaries here." Ward's eyes scanned the busy scene. Scientists and engineers bustled around, their faces tense with concern. The air buzzed with anticipation and a hint of fear. "We need to stabilize this, or we'll have another incident like last month," Hansen added, her voice low but firm. The memory of that disaster hung heavy in the air, a stark reminder of the risks they faced. Ward turned to the control team. "Status on the rift stabilizers?" A tech immediately replied. 85% capacity, sir. We need a few more minutes." Just then, a surge of energy erupted from the rift, sending shockwaves through the platform. Alarms blared and chaos ensued. Ward barked orders, his voice cutting through the panic. "Everyone, hold your positions! Stay focused!" Amid the commotion, a dark, swirling form emerged from the rift. The first glimpse of the Vrell. Lucas Ward sat in the stark briefing room, his eyes fixed on the holographic projector in the center. Lieutenant Arya Hansen stood by his side, scrolling through data on her tablet. The room was full of tension, a heavy silence punctuated by soft murmurs and shuffling papers. Dr. Evelyn Green entered, her lab coat fluttering behind her, eyes intense behind rectangular glasses. She adjusted the projector, and a 3D image of a Vrell filled the space. "This is our enemy," she began, her voice clear and steady. "The Vrell are energy beings. They drain life force to stabilize themselves in our dimension." Ward leaned forward, his brows furrowed. "How do we stop them?" Green glanced at her notes before replying. "We need to understand their connection to the rifts. Lieutenant Hansen, any updates from the front lines?" Hansen stepped forward, her expression grim. "The Vrell attacked another sector last night. They're getting bolder, and our defenses are barely holding." A young officer, visibly shaken, raised his hand. "If they drain life force, how are we supposed to fight them?" Ward's gaze hardened. "We find their weakness. Every enemy has one." Green nodded. "I'm working on a theory. If we can disrupt their connection to the rift." The room buzzed with renewed focus. Ward's voice broke through, determined and resolute. "We have to act fast. Lives are at stake." New Connecticut's skyline was a jagged silhouette against the darkening sky as Lucas Ward raced through the dimly lit streets. He could hear distant explosions and the hum of military drones overhead. Hansen's voice crackled in his earpiece. "Captain, the Vrell are converging on Sector 7. We need reinforcements now." "On my way," Ward replied, his breath heavy. He sprinted past civilians huddled in doorways, their faces a mix of fear and confusion. He reached the command outpost where Lieutenant Arya Hansen was coordinating the defense. "What's our status?" he demanded. She pointed to the central holographic map, which showed red dots clustering around key areas. "They're targeting our power grids," she said. "If they succeed, we'll be blind and helpless." Dr. Green was there too, her fingers typing furiously on a portable console. She glanced up, her expression strained. "Captain, I think I have a way to slow them down. If we can create a feedback loop within the rift, it might disrupt their energy." Ward nodded, his mind racing. "Do it. Hansen, gather your best people. We're going to buy Dr. Green some time." Hansen saluted and turned to her team, issuing rapid commands. Minutes later, Ward and his squad moved stealthily through the rubble-strewn alleys of Sector 7. They took up defensive positions around the power grid, weapons at the ready. The air crackled with tension, every shadow a potential threat. Suddenly, a Vrell materialized, its form twisting and crackling with energy. "Hold your fire until I give the signal," Ward whispered. The creature moved closer, almost curious. Ward's heart pounded. "Now!" he shouted. A barrage of energy blasts erupted, pushing the Vrell back just enough for Green's device to activate. The feedback loop engaged, and the Vrell screeched, its form flickering. Ward didn't allow himself a moment of relief. "Keep your focus. This isn't over yet." Lucas Ward stood at the heart of the battle, the makeshift command center buzzing with frantic energy. Hansen's voice crackled over the comms. "Captain, the Vrell are pushing harder. We can't hold them forever." He glanced at Dr. Green, who was hunched over her modified rift controller. The device glowed softly, intricate circuits weaving through its core. "Evelyn, is it ready?" he asked, urgency in his voice. She inhaled deeply, pushing her glasses up. "It's now or never, Lucas. The rift manipulation tech should disrupt their cohesion." Ward nodded, turning to his unit. "Everyone, listen up. We're driving the Vrell back using Dr. Green's device. Stick to your assignments and protect the rift controller at all costs." He led by example, charging towards the thick of the battle. The streets were a chaotic mix of rubble and flickering shadows. The once bustling neighborhood, now a war zone. Hansen directed the team with sharp commands, her rifle never wavering. "Form a perimeter around the rift. Keep them away from Green." The Vrell surged forward, their energy forms pulsating with malicious intent. Ward activated the modified device, feeling its hum in sync with his heartbeat. A control beam shot out, intersecting with the rift's energy, causing a ripple that forced the Vrell to recoil. One of the creatures lunged at Hansen. She sidestepped, firing point blank. "Nice try," she muttered, narrowly avoiding its grasp. Ward watched Green's device emit a pulse that made the Vrell flicker and distort. With renewed hope, he shouted, "We're pushing them back. Keep it steady." The team rallied, focusing their fire to drive the creatures toward the rift. Green's voice was calm but firm. "Just a little more, Captain. The feedback is disrupting their form." The Vrell began to dematerialize, their energy dissipating as the device took effect. Ward took a deep breath, glancing at his comrades. "Hold on, everyone. We're almost there." As the last Vrell flickered out, he looked at Green, who breathed a sigh of relief. She met his gaze, a tentative smile forming. "It worked," she said softly. Ward nodded, his voice somber. "Let's make sure they stay gone." Lucas Ward stood before a cheering crowd in the city square of New Connecticut, the scars of battle still fresh on the buildings around them. The sense of triumph was palpable. Hansen, standing beside him, whispered, "We did it, Lucas. We actually did it." Ward waved to the citizens, his stern demeanor softening. "We couldn't have done it without all of you, soldiers, scientists, civilians. We stood together and we won," he announced, his voice carrying over the cheers. After the celebration, Ward, Hansen, and Dr. Green convened in the refurbished command center. The mood was more somber here, the weight of responsibility heavy on their shoulders. "We may have defeated the Vrell, but the rifts are still unstable," Green began, looking at holographic displays of energy fluctuations. "If we don't act, we risk another invasion, or worse." Hansen nodded, her eyes narrowing. "We need a permanent solution." Ward leaned over the table, the lines of fatigue clear on his face. "What do you propose, Evelyn?" Green took a deep breath. "We need to establish a network of rift stabilizers. It's a major undertaking, but it's our best shot at protecting our world." Hansen straightened, determination in her eyes. "We've come this far. We can handle it." Ward's voice was calm but resolute. "Agreed. Let's get to work." As they meticulously planned their next steps, a young officer burst into the room, breathless. "Captain, we've detected a new anomaly. Another rift forming, but this time it's different." The room fell silent as Ward exchanged looks with Hansen and Green. "All right, team," he said finally, his voice filled with determination. "Looks like our work isn't done yet. Let's move out." They strode out, ready to face whatever challenges the rifts would bring next, knowing that together they could overcome anything.